Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, a little bit different video for you today. We're starting down here in the utility room, but this is not going to be a plumbing, radiant snowmelt, hot water related video. So, about a week ago, my wife was down here. I was at work, and she called me and she said, "Chris, there's water coming out of the ceiling," and you know, that's like your worst nightmare when you have radiant heat pipes up here. And I immediately thought, like, oh no, you know, something, I have no idea. It's been fine for years. We didn't put any new nails or screws in the floor, but who knows, you know? So I had her come down here, look, tell me where it's coming from. She says, well, it's coming out of this hole right here where this braided line goes through. And I said, oh crap. So right above us is the dishwasher. Now it's a brand new 15-month-old KitchenAid, top of the line. I think it's a KDPM 604. I can get the model for you upstairs. I'll take you up and show you what's going on. So I immediately told her, shut the water off down here. We shut the water off in the mana block for the dishwasher, and yeah, I said, you know, go in there, empty it out, try to get all the water out of it, and you know, I'll check it out when I can get home. So when I came home, we pulled it out. I'll take you up there, and it was definitely leaking. It actually looked like it had been leaking for some time. So let me switch up there and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's the dishwasher. It's a KitchenAid, like I mentioned, and you know, 3-story or 3-rack. And let's see here, model number is KDPM 604 KPS. So anyway, right below us over here in the kitchen is the utility room. And the old Bosch dishwasher had a water feed that fed up in the front here. So that's what this hole was. And then the new one kind of comes in through the back. And what had happened was this unit was leaking, and the water was basically puddling up under here. And of course I have hardwood floors, and it was running down this old hole and that hole back there, and there's another hole in the subfloor here from same thing, the old dishwasher. I think the drain or something was over here, but when we put this hardwood down, we went right over it. But water was coming out of that too, which is like my worst nightmare, because now you know water's getting underneath the hardwood, and that's bad. So luckily I have a couple things going for me here. First is that this is quarter sawn red oak flooring because of the radiant heat. So the grain direction runs up and down instead of your typical hardwood flooring, which runs left to right. So yes, it will still cup, but it seems to be less so. The other thing is that, you know, fortunately we finished this whole floor before we even installed any of the islands or anything, but you can see under here, and I don't know how well this is coming out, this is all, I would say, pretty cupped pretty badly. And there's even a spot on the floor here that originally I thought was a burn, which concerned me as to why is the dishwasher burning the floor, but I think that's just probably mold or something that's gotten into the floor there, and you know, underneath the finish. So this cabinet here used to go all the way down. I cut this out with the Dremel that evening after we had the leak to kind of dry everything out, because it was wet. It was wet under here, and luckily for us, it didn't really ruin. I mean, this is a little cupped right here, you know, but most of it is back underneath. So if you look at the back of the dishwasher here, there are two, well, you guys can see this, there's a couple of spots here where the heating element power comes in, here and here. And what happens is, apparently, I called Lowe's originally, which is where we purchased it, and said, hey, you know, this thing's leaking. And they said, oh, okay. They took the model and they said, actually, there's an issue with those that's known, and Whirlpool, who owns KitchenAid, will come out and replace some grommets on this thing. I said, oh, okay, well that's, nice to know. So I called Whirlpool, and I waited on the phone for a half hour and finally got somebody, and I said, hey, got this brand new dishwasher that's leaking, and I said, I understand there's a recall, and she very promptly and assertively corrected me that it is not a recall, sir. Okay, all right, well, I understand there's a service bulletin or whatever you want to call it out on these things, and she didn't want to admit it at first, but she looked up the model number and the serial number, and she said, yeah, there's an issue. Okay, she says it has to do with the heating element, nothing to do with leaking. Okay, I said, well, are you going to schedule that service? And she said, yeah, that's fine. I'll send somebody out in 2 weeks. Okay, so, but anyway, I go online, of course, and start Googling, and you can see where there's all sorts of articles of these things leaking, and that's exactly where it's leaking from. I mean, I can pull this heating element loose in the back here, and you can see where it's been leaking and running down and dripping around this I'm guessing this is a pump maybe for the drain, I'm not sure, but it's definitely been leaking for a while, and that sucks because it's brand new and it ruined the hardwood under there. So anyway, the rep from Whirlpool is supposed to be here today, and in the meantime, just to show you the inside here, if you look in the back here, it's these grommets back here that go bad, and that one is so loose that I could probably pour a cup of water on that right there, and most of it will just run right through to the bottom of and out the tub. So we had a Bosch for years and years, and although it didn't necessarily clean the dishes as well as this one, it never leaked. So it's just kind of unfortunate that, we went with what we thought was a really good brand and a really good model, and we're not even 15 months into it and it's already leaking. But at least they're sending somebody here. We'll see if they show up and to fix it. So anyway, me being, the engineering side of me here is already thinking, how can I make sure this never happens again? And one of the things I think I'm going to do here is I think I'm gonna cut this hardwood out underneath here, and I'm gonna make a pan, and I'm gonna put a pan out of sheet metal underneath it, and I bought a little drain fitting on Amazon. I'll show you that, and I'll put that in the middle somewhere, and I'll seal it all up real good, and hopefully this will, if it ever does leak again, which I would hope it doesn't, but you never know. I really don't want it ruining all of this hardwood. We lucked out this time. I'm hoping that this pan will just catch everything and basically let it leak down into the utility room in the basement, which is fine because I've had a lot of stuff leak down there with building this whole snow melt and radiant system, and it's just concrete, and that way I'll notice it. I could always pipe it over somewhere too, but for now, that's kind of my plan. I looked online. There are kits you can buy. There's pan kits you can buy for these that go under there, and they're already made, and that would probably work too, but I've got the sheet metal. I'm familiar with bending and making sheet metal, and I'm not really afraid of it or worried about it. So I think I'm just gonna make my own, and I thought I'd bring you guys along as I do it here. So I've already pulled my dimensions as to the size of the pan that I want. I am gonna have to figure out a different way to do that water line there. So maybe I'll just drill another hole further back. Maybe bring it up further back and up higher because I don't want it in the pan. But yeah, let's head out to the garage and mark off some sheet metal and start to make this pan. Okay guys, out here in the garage, this little makeshift workbench. So what I've got is just a piece of sheet metal that I used to make some HVAC ducting a while back. And Measures 36 by 39-ish at its shortest point, a little longer over there. So I think the 36 will be we're looking for a piece that's 24.5 wide by 22 deep. So anything in excess, I'll just bend up and use as the sides. So since 36 is going to be our shorter side, and we're looking for 22, what I did was I found the center line. Okay, so this is 18 over approximately, and then I measured 11 off the center line in each direction, and that's going to be my bend for the sides. So I'm just using a drywall square here and just going to line this up. This edge, these two corners are pretty good as far as square. I checked them. So I'm just going to make a mark down here, and we'll come over here. We'll make one here too. Okay, so that's going to be my 22. Now this way we want to be the 24, but I only want like a 3/4 inch lip in the front, so I don't need a huge lip in the front of it because I don't want it to extend up past the hardwood, because then I've got to worry as you slide the dishwasher in and out, you got to lift it and get it over it, and it just becomes a pain. So if we're already going to have 7 inches there, roughly 7 inches folded up on the two sides, then what we should probably do across, okay, so let's figure this out though. Our 22 is going to be like this, so this is a side, this is a side, that'll be the back, and one of these will be the front. So from our 24.5 dimension, we want to be about 7 down on each side here. That'll keep our bend in the back pretty much the same as the sides here. And then in the front it'll be, you know, whatever. So from here we want our 24.5. So we'll just set that at 10, go up to 34.5, right about there. Do the same thing over here. Right about there. So this is our 24.5. This is our 24.5. This is our 22. So really, we're going to want 7 more on this side, and then this will be our front right here. So we'll just mark this for right now as front. We'll come off another 7 inches here. Okay, so we'll cut this off to get rid of this uneven edge. Now in the front, like I said, I don't want 7, I only want 3/4, because I want to fold it up, but I got to be able to get the dishwasher in and out of there. So we're going to go ahead and mark off 3/4 on here. Back here. So we're going to cut off these 2 edges here. Then we can bend the front up. We'll probably cut this off as well, because I don't want this to be sticking out past the front of the dishwasher on the sides. We'll fold this forward. We'll start to make our other bends. We'll do something in the back there with the corners. We'll have to cut one of the corners. I'll have to figure out which way I want to fold it. And yeah, so this is going to be our front. This is going to be our right side. This is going to be our back. This will be our left. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. For you to see it, it kind of looks like this. Oh, where's it? Good. So I have this bender I use to make HVAC ducting, custom ducting in the basement. Pretty sure this is 3/4, 1 inch, but that'll work. So for the front here, do is get it lined up pretty much right with that black Sharpie mark. So that should be our front lip. We're a little bit higher, but I can always cut it off a little bit. So, unfortunately I can't use this to bend these because they're too high, so I'll have to come up with something custom there. Maybe I'll cut a piece of wood down and try to fold it over that way with a couple of clamps. I've done that before. Alright, so I think we'll fold this back up first. Fold the sides up. Bend these around the back. We'll go see how it fits. And then I can cut the floor while I'm waiting for the Whirlpool guy here. So we need, either way, we need a scrap piece of wood that's 22 inches. It's a little long, I'm just going to square up this other end. Okay, that's perfect. Probably could have left the front that I trimmed off a little long just to bend that tab over, but I think once we get it all screwed into the cabinet, I'll just put some weedy sealant in that corner, and it's not going to leak. If it gets higher than 3/4 of an inch, we got other problems. Especially with a drain in the middle. I mean, technically, I really could probably cut this down, but I figured I've got the material, I might as well utilize it. Okay, sorry about that, guys. The appliance repair guy came and replaced the entire heating element in the dishwasher, and a super nice guy. I'll throw his contact info up either in the description, or I'll put it right up on the video here. But so that's fixed, it's all set. Was chatting with him while he was doing it. It took him about 10 minutes, and he said it's been a common problem, but he was pretty confident that fixed it, and I'll probably never have a leak with the thing. So I told him I was going to make something like this anyway, and you know, he kind of agreed. It's never a bad idea, but you know, may not be totally necessary, so that's okay. I'm good with a little bit of you know, overprotection here. So let's pick back up where we were. So I was trying to decide how I want to bend this. If I want to bend the back up behind this, or if I maybe want to bend this up in front of it. I'm kind of almost thinking I might want it in front of it. That way I can just pretty much caulk that corner and we're good to go. If I leave it in here, I mean, technically I've got to caulk all these other edges. If I go out here, it'll pretty much just be that corner. So, I need one 24.5, so let me cut another scrap here at 24.5, and we'll use that to kind of bend this other side. All I'm using here is just part of I think it was a 2x8 or something at one point that I had ripped down for some other project, and you know, these are just scraps, but they do have a straight edge on them. It's not the factory rounded edge on a 2x, so they make good for this, because that straight edge can go down nice and flat there. And that is just a little bit too long, so I'm just going to shave a little bit more off of that. Okay, so you guys can see this. I'm trying to think of how I can get the camera maybe closer. Let me see if maybe I can rearrange you guys. Alright, maybe that's a little bit better. Maybe not. I don't know. Clear this off here, and so let's see. I probably should have bent this first, obviously, now that I decided to do this, but not the end of the world. Let's see if maybe we can get the bend started and then pull that back out of the way and get it behind it a little bit. It's not bad. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it is going underneath the dishwasher, but still, I like to get it as good as we can anyway. A little bit of a bow here that's going to be hammered out. Got the back up here, folds behind it, makes a real nice corner. This is the only spot where technically it could leak, so I'll put some weedy in there, and we'll screw this right to the back of the cabinet. So now I just need to fold this end up and behind. So probably easier to fold this first, because once we get this up we won't be able to fold it. So let's go ahead and get that bent up if we can. And the trick that I've always learned is put as much pressure down towards the bottom as you can, because you don't want it to start bending like up in here. You want it to bend at that crease. Again, it'd be great if we had a brake, or if I could somehow clamp this or even screw this down and bend it, but then you're putting holes in a pan that I otherwise want to be waterproof. Yeah, we could weedy them, you know, we could fill those holes, but I'd rather just not do it in the first place. Again, that's hanging down just a little bit. So what I'm talking about is here on the back. When I put this right at 90 degrees, this is hanging down a little low right here. So I'm just starting here at 0 and coming up to about 1/8 of an inch off of this tail here. And just feather down to almost nothing. Now that sits perfect. Okay, so that should, if we did that correctly, give us a pan that we can sit down in there. This is the height of the hardwood floor, which I have a scrap piece of that here somewhere. Here. Might be a little high, but there is a little lip there, so we could cut that down a little bit, but so the hardwood floor will butt up to this. So we're gonna need something in here, otherwise the dishwasher is gonna drop. So what I was thinking is, I have some PVC Versatex. I have some scraps of that upstairs from when we sided the house. I could use this as an example, but this isn't what I'm going to use. This is a piece of trim, something that goes around a window. It has a spot for the nailing flange, but what I'm thinking is I'll get a couple of 3/4 inch thick solid pieces of Versatex from upstairs and just lay them in there as a couple of tracks for the dishwasher's feet to ride on. But I saw on Matt Reisinger's channel, he did something very similar, but he had a very nice stainless steel pan welded up with a drain in it, and I don't even want to know what it cost him and how much the local fab shop charged him, and I really wasn't looking to get that crazy on this. I had the sheet metal, I know how to do it, so he used Versatex. He used a piece of Versatex in the same exact manner. And what he did is on the bottom, he cut a bunch of slits in it so that any water that did leak could get underneath it. And this is PVC. This won't absorb moisture at all, so it's pretty much waterproof. I have a couple pieces of that upstairs, some scraps that I can cut to fit in there. I'll cut some slips in it, maybe on the table saw, and yeah, I can put those in and go test fit this. The only other thing we'll have to do is my water line comes up like right here. So I've got to come up further back with that water line and maybe pop through higher up somewhere. If we can do that. So I'll have to go in and look at that, but I think as of right now, I mean, I could disconnect the drain and the power to the dishwasher and go see if this fits, which I might do. So, but yeah, this is kind of the concept. The next step would be to cut the floor too. So yeah, we're getting there. Anyway, let me go see if I can find some PVC, and I'll bring you back. Maybe we'll go test fit this thing, and I'll show you what the repair guy did and the piece that he left me. He left me the old heating element, just told me to throw it out, but you can see where it failed. So I'll show you. Okay guys, this is what I came up with. A couple of pieces of flat PVC here. Just scraps I had from the house. These will sit down in here as runners for the dishwasher legs. So the only thing I need to do now is get some sort of kerfs in the bottom of this so that any water that were to get to the outside could get into the middle and kind of fill up the pan until it gets to this drain I'm going to put in. The drain itself I just picked up off Amazon. Stainless steel. It's like 20 bucks. It's just a little, you know, drain, mainly for a sink. But rubber gasket on it. And I like this because it was pretty thin here. So I can get that down in wherever I want it, and then go from underneath and tighten this gasket up to the bottom of the pan. And then if I really want to seal it, I could go around it with, you know, a bead of Wheatie. But you know, this isn't like going to be a shower pan. This hopefully should never see water. Hopefully I'm just wasting my time with all of this and it's never needed, and it's just you know, a complete waste of time, and I'm okay with that. But if the event that the whole thing does give way, I mean, with a drain in here that's only that thick and a 3/4 inch lip on the front, it really should go down this and into the utility room before it ever comes up and over this. And that's kind of what I'm going for here. I might actually put a kerf in the top of the front of these so that if any water did leak onto the PVC and tried to run out to the hardwood, it would hit that kerf and run off to the sides. I mean, if I'm going to go up and set the table saw up to basically make kerfs in here anyway, then why not just flip it over and make one on the top for that? Kind of like a drip, you know, channel, so that any water can't get past this. It would hit that and then fall into the sides. It's kind of what I'm thinking anyway. So again, I'm probably way over engineering this, but you know, just more peace of mind. And when it's done and it's installed, I'll never have to worry about it again. It's never going to ruin my hardwood floors. So we'll just be able to replace dishwashers and slide them right in here, and this will stay right where it is. So yeah, let me run upstairs. Maybe I'll try to bring you guys along while I kerf all of the bottom of these, and then I think we'll run inside. I'll disconnect the power and the drain and the water, get all that out of the way. Probably gonna have to cut something in here for the power and the drain to come back through, so we'll figure that out where that needs to be, and then we'll figure out the water line, and I'll drill this. Got to be careful drilling this because I don't want to hit my radiant heat tubes in the floor. So luckily there's a hole somewhere up here where the old Bosch water line came up, and hopefully I can measure off that from both above and below and get in between two of the radiant pipes below with this. This doesn't have to be centered. I think we'll be able to keep it somewhere in the middle, but yeah, so we should be fine. So yeah, that's the plan. be the top, front. Now we'll make all the ones on the bottom here. So I'm guessing 22 inches would come in. Two, 4, 6. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So here's the front. That's the bottom. So any water that gets in on one side will have a way to get out before it builds up and cools over this. These will be my 2 rails. Let's go inside. Okay, so the floor's out. You can definitely see it has been leaking. That sucks. This old floor. See some of these boards. Pretty wet. So, I mean, they're dry now, but they were wet. So I'm going to spray some bleach on this, clean it up, bring the pan in. Okay guys, so here is the finished installation. Sorry I didn't take video of it putting in, but I cut out the floor and I basically just brought the pan in and set it down in there. Fit nicely. I put some screws in, those little tack like metal axe screws, and put those in all around the edge. I notched out this for the power and the drain, which goes over to the garbage disposal, and then the power is back there. And then I moved the water. The water line used to come up here. I moved it back behind there and brought it up. The only thing I don't like is, even though it's not sharp, right there, I really don't like how that, I mean, this isn't sharp at all, but I don't like how that hose is kind of resting. on that metal. So I cut a little piece of vacuum tubing here, and I was gonna see if I could maybe just get this on there. So let's go pull this back out. This goes down into the basement. This is the right width. Needs to be trimmed a little bit. Yeah, I would have turned the camera back on, but this is right in the kitchen, and the kids are in here, and you know, it got to be dinner time, and everything was loud, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of what I'm thinking there. Just a piece of rubber, just to make sure it never rubs through, and then to make sure that doesn't fall off, let's just put a piece of tape over it. So here's kind of what I'm thinking for this is there. Now that's not sharp anymore. Now I should be able to find that hole again back there. If it goes down into the basement, there it goes. Okay. Get ready here. We're missing the rubber washer outfit though. I have to find that. Where did that go? To find that. But anyway, so, yeah. Here we are. I did end up 45ing the back of these runners, and I didn't end up using weedy. I was going to use some weedy sealant in the corners here because I'm also doing a bathroom right now, and I have it, but I didn't know how well that would stick to this sheet metal. Instead I just used OSI quad, polyurethane adhesive, sealant, caulk, whatever you want to call it, but I've had really good luck with that stuff. It works great, waterproof, and it cures in the presence of moisture, so we're good. Not that I expect any moisture down here. The drain, I showed you the drain earlier, so what I did was got the pan in, located it, just drilled one hole with maybe 1/4 inch bit, went downstairs. I had it all measured out, so I knew I wouldn't hit a pipe. I've got a radiant heat pipe that's right about here, and drilled it, then drilled it with I think 1 3/8 so that this drain would fit through, and then I went from the bottom and drilled up with 2 3/8, and that was enough for me to get a big socket on the nut that came with this. And it also allowed me to kind of hammer this down, because the bottom of this drain has a little bit of a bevel on it, and I didn't want it sticking up. It's meant for a sink, so I got it down so where that's almost flush with this. This kind of dips down here, and then I just sealed it. I could have put plumber's putty in there, but I really was only hand cranking it down to tighten it. I said, you know what, some quad. I'm not really expecting this to ever leak again. This whole project is probably just a huge waste of time. The guy said today that, once you replace this seating element, they really haven't had any issues with these dishwashers. So, but it's good insurance, and for me, it's peace of mind. I had the day off anyway. I didn't mind making it. It was kind of fun. So yeah, so I'm going to maybe give this one more quick vacuum, and I'm going to slide the dishwasher in. I'll probably get the drain and the power through there, get those routed underneath here. Try not to get into this OSI quad, because I really don't want that all over everything. But yeah, so far so good. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I can take you down in the basement and show you what it looks like from down there, but yeah, so far this is exactly what I had in mind, and it should be waterproof, and we still have a 3/4 inch lip here from cutting the floor out, so the water should never get high enough to to get to the hardwood ever again. I would have to, I mean, it would have to overcome that and be on top of these. And so if any water did get on these, I explained earlier, hopefully it'll hit this curve here and just run into the pan. And then there's all the curves I made before. These are kind of a little bowing a little bit, but I don't want to screw them down or anything, because then I'm putting a hole in the pan. So yeah, I think we're good. So let's see if we can slide this thing back in, and I'll let you know how it goes. Figured I'd give you guys a shot here underneath. Turned out I like how it rests, I like how it looks, and it's a lot safer. I don't have to worry about any water anymore. If this thing does leak, it's gonna get caught in that pan and until we can figure it out. So I'm gonna run down in the basement. I'll take you guys down there. I'm gonna hook the water line back up, and then I got the drain. There's actually a leak sensing tray that goes in here. There's some insulation, and then there's the cover that goes on. So before I put all that in, though, I want to get the water hooked up and run it. There's a test cycle you can do by pushing a button dance up there, and you can have it fill, purge all the air out of the line and everything. So I wanted to get this tight. Now when I go in the basement, I'll hook up the other end and I'll turn the water back on. Okay, back down here in the basement, and as you can see, these old holes here now are the bottom of the pan. That's flush right with the floor, and then here is the drain. It's a little short, so what I did was, I think I explained this earlier, I drilled the sheet metal with 1 3/8. Drilled a pilot hole, drilled the sheet metal with 1 3/8, made sure I wasn't close to this radiant heat tube here. Then I came back from below and drilled up with, I think it's like 2 1/4, whatever fit my big socket that fit on that nut. So also what that did is, by having the inside of this 2 3/4 hollow, it allowed me to really pull down that drain so that it basically sits flush. But then I needed something to tighten the nut, so I just grabbed a piece of 1/4 inch hardwood plywood I had laying around, scrap, drilled a hole in that, and then tightened the nut against that. So that's how it's pulling it down into that recess. And yeah, that should be fine. I mean, if it leaks down here, it's, you know, not a big deal. I did want to build a workbench here someday. I don't know that I really want that to drip on it, but they do make longer ones of this. I probably should have got a longer one, but I'm sure we can come up with something. I could probably even take that nut off and just screw on a 1-inch PVC female thread to 1-inch pipe, and then just pipe it somewhere else if it's an issue. But hopefully it never leaks. I could just put something underneath it up here too, and that would catch it too. But anyway, so the water line comes back down, and I'm going to bring this back over and hook it back into here, and get the water turned back on to it. Stick these back in. I pulled these out earlier because that's where the water line used to come up, and I moved it over to here because the back of the pan is like right here. So yeah, we're in good shape. I'll take you back upstairs. We'll get this hooked up, and okay guys, I got the drip pan back installed here, and I went ahead and put it in test mode. I'll show you how to do that, but it's running right now. It's a 5-minute cycle that it goes through. It tests all the spray heads, it fills it, it drains it, and so far I don't see any leaks. So I think our little modification here was a success. I think that the repair was a success. I think we're in good shape. Getting all the air out of that line. I don't see anything dripping. I can hear it going through its cycle in there. It will count out the number of minutes that it's on. Yeah, it says 4. Actually 6. I thought it was only a 5-minute cycle, but it take longer than that. So yeah, so far so good. I don't see any water. I think we are back in business after being without the dishwasher for 2 weeks. And not only do we have the dishwasher back, but we've got a nice drip pan underneath it now. So I'll keep watching it for a little bit here, and I'll bring you back when I button it up. I'll also show you how to do that key dance to run a test. Okay, so that cycle finished. Looks pretty good in there. There's the new grommets back there. You guys can see them. Everything looks good. We can run it again. So here's how you do that key dance. On the top of this thing, you do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, then you hit the second button in tough. Doesn't make a noise, so you just push that and then close the door. You got a number 1. So now it's going to run through that same 5-6 minute test. And it does a fill, it does a drain, it runs through all the spray heads. Just so you can kind of check the leaks here. I think we're pretty good. And even with this drip pan now, even if we're not, I've got nothing to worry about. Yeah, I don't see anything. I think we're in great shape. So while that's running, I'm going to go ahead and button it up here. There's a piece of insulation, looks like this. This goes over the electrical box, so this goes right up in here. Just like that. Still don't see any leaks. I think we're good to go. Next, this is a two-piece panel assembly here. So this goes in first. Insulates up underneath here. And there's hooks up here that this hooks on. What I like to do is just get these started. I'll show you. Just get the thing in there. So just get it started. You don't gotta get them. Don't drive them home all the way yet, and I'll show you why. When it started like that. Started like that. Then I grab another screwdriver here. And you pull down on this. And there you have it. Now, if I wanted to, I do have some extra quarter sawn kickboard that's stained this color. I could go right across the front of that, come up with a way to attach it. I could even drill and just use these same holes, because this is pretty much recessed behind that 3/4 inch kick. So I might do that at some point just to give it a little more look, but it would have to be only this high, because when you open the door, so that just finished its cycle, but so when you open the door, this swings up into there. That's why this is curved like that. So if I ran a kickboard, full length kickboard all the way across, it would hit it. So I'd have to keep it lower. But yeah, so anyway, I think we're good. That should wrap up this little project for the day. And seems to be fixed. No leaks. And now we got a nice beautiful drip pan underneath it. Can check in here real quick too. See any leaks up here? I think so. Yeah, we're good. So, all right, I would say that's a wrap, guys. Thanks again for watching. I'm gonna throw the doors back on this cabinet and call that a success. We'll see you on the next one.